Hello and welcome to your Friday edition of The Nerve. I am your host, Maureen Callahan. We have a stacked, packed, ready to go show today. We are kicking things off with celebrity gossip reporter extraordinaire Rob Shuter, who is going to break several exclusives with us here on The Nerve. The latest on Meghan Markle and Harry and the huge enemy they have just made in Hollywood. This may be it for them. This may be it for them in terms of deals with any executive in the business anymore. There was a scathing piece in Variety. We've got it all. Then we've got Rob's got an exclusive on Shyamalama Ding Dong, who if you thought he might learn something from his peers in the industry mocking him on a globally broadcast Oscars awards ceremony, this guy, it's going to take a lot more. And you know what? The Nerve's here to do it. Don't worry. The Nerve's here to take trash like that out. Okay. We're also going to talk about our favorite Kennedy adjacent person who is back in the culture. And again, if the Nerve has anything to say about this, it's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. Then we're going to talk about a bunch of other things that we didn't have time to address as the week progressed, because the week was just crazy with stuff. But Access Hollywood got canceled. We're going to get into it. The latest crimes against the culture that are being committed over at the Today Show. And we know there are people who work on the Today Show who watch The Nerve and not like hate watching it. They know that we're right. Okay. So, you know, we're speaking directly to you guys. We know there are people over there on the right side of history. Okay. And then we've got a major reality star who I'm going to present my evidence to you as your cultural criminal prosecutor that this star may have outed themselves as a troublemaker. Okay. Amazing. Plus we've got your feedback. And then we were like, okay, where can we put this? It's so good. And as we were putting it together, this thing is even better than we thought. And I'm just going to say that if Lena Dunham, whose memoir is about to come out in a few weeks, and trust me, troublemakers, when I tell you, we here at Nerve HQ, we are wargaming this thing. Okay. Wargaming our Lena coverage. This person is Lena Dunham adjacent, is getting pride of place. Where else? In the New York Times. Oh, and by the by, you guys really, our Maureen Dowd op-ed critique landed with you guys like a mofo. And I think we're going to be revisiting Maureen from time to time. I think we are. We also know there are people at the Times who like The Nerve. Open up the Times. Any given headline these days, you're going to find a pun on nerve. We know what's up. We know what's up. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go. After having a few drinks, are you finding it harder and harder to bounce back? Do you find yourself choosing between having a great night out or a great day after? Try ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol. This is the first genetically engineered probiotic created by PhD scientists to help you tackle those rough mornings after drinking. Here is how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's a buildup of this byproduct, not dehydration, that's really behind those sluggish mornings. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. So make it your first drink of the night, drink responsibly, and feel your best the next day. If you are ready to give ZBiotics a try, go to zbiotics.com/nerve now. You will get 15% off your first order when you use code NERVE at checkout. That's zbiotics.com/nerve. Use code NERVE at checkout for 15% off. Joining us now is Rob Shuter of the Must Subscribe Substack, Naughty But Nice. If you haven't already, go and pre-order our next Nerve book club pick. It's Rob's new novel. It Started with a Whisper. And if the troublemakers are going to listen, we already got Timothée denied an Oscar. Let's make sure Rob's book hits the New York Times bestseller list the first week it's out. Welcome back, Rob. Welcome back.
This is your copy. The first copy I have. I'm sending it to you, my friend. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Rob, we have so much to get to. It's only been a few nights since I saw you live in studio, but there has been so much troublemaking in the culture and by repeat offenders. First, we have got to talk about this new Variety hit piece on Meghan and Harry. The headline, Inside Meghan and Harry's Falling Out with Netflix, and why the royal couple is struggling. And I mean, get with it, Variety. They've been struggling for a long time. Reading from Matt Donnelly's piece published on March 17th, the Sussexes' perceived, that must have been a lawyer's note, because it's a pattern of selling repackaged versions of the same story about their exit from royal life has exhausted Netflix. Quote, the mood in the building is, we're done. One Netflix insider tells Variety. Their bedside manner, meaning Harry and Meghan, has ruffled feathers in meetings. Meghan is said to, when she's on a Zoom meeting with Netflix execs, if something offends her or someone says something that meets with her displeasure, she just gets up and walks off. She just gets up and walks off, and she doesn't return for lengthy bouts of time. Continuing from the Variety piece, Rob, 3 insiders say Netflix chief Ted Sarandos is fed up with the pair, who, per 2 sources, have been known to text directly with the co-CEO about their projects, as do many A-listers who work with the streamer. Rob, first of all, I want to ask you this. Is it really that common for talent to text with Ted Sarandos, one of the most powerful people in the entertainment industry, directly? I feel like, this is just me, but I feel like this piece is trying to make that sound normal, because we've all wondered why exactly Ted Sarandos has kept the malignant cultural cancer that is Meghan Markle around for so long.
I think he's finally had enough of Meghan and Harry, which is why this piece finally was put out there. I knew Variety was working on this. I've known for about 2 weeks. And just to pull back the curtain a little bit, I think it's fun to listen to media insiders. The sources that I have at Netflix, I've been talking to, and they've told me, 2 of them told me, we've been getting a lot of calls from Variety. We feel like Variety is going to be working on this big piece. So the sources I speak to, the ones that Variety speak to, are really, really good sources. Let me answer your question, though. It is only insecure. It is only amateur talent that has to go right to the very top. This doesn't just exist in celebrity. It's like the person that walks into the bank and has to speak to the bank manager to make a deposit.
No, I think it would be like, let me speak to the president and CEO. Hi, JP Morgan Chase, get me Jamie Dimon on the phone, you know?
Yeah. Barbara Streisand did this when she didn't like how Suri was pronouncing her name. She called the head of Apple, or like she did, and they fixed it. And so this is such a Karen move. This is such a do you know who I am type of move. This is such a diva move that I'm not at all surprised that Meghan pulled it. But there are thousands of people that work for Netflix who are there to solve problems on all of Meghan's projects. She was given a point person, a really talented point person, somebody whose name is Point Person. Call that person. Meghan won't deal with that. She won't deal with anybody who isn't at the very, very top. And that's sort of a failing, I think, on her. That tells you more about her than anybody else. But just a little bit of interesting news just to show you how petty and how mean this has got. Ted just unfollowed Meghan on Instagram.
Stop it.
Just happened.
We're all 13-year-old girls at heart, are we not?
We are.
You know, this is incredible too, by the way, you mentioning the point person that Meghan had. First of all, when you have issues like that, people like Meghan Markle, there's an apparatus around you and an apparatus around Netflix and a way of doing things. You know, your agent or your point person says, hey, we're having a bit of difficulty here. They bad cop, so you can always be good cop. And that point person, by the by, I believe Meghan had deputized to deal with the fallout over telling her father with his freshly amputated leg at Christmas time to fuck off. She had a holiday Netflix special to promote. You know, like she's not in her right mind. So then the next piece of like just juicy meat on this bone from Variety, quoting from the piece, 2 sources insist that Sarandos recently said he would not sit for a call with Meghan Markle unless a lawyer was present on the line. Again, these look like legal notes to me in this piece. The sources were unclear if Sarandos was serious or joking. A Netflix spokesperson says it's absolutely inaccurate. But I can tell you as a reporter, as a longtime journalist, when you front load a graph with that detail, and then you back end that graph with denials and obfuscations, it's usually the top part that everyone knows is true.
You're absolutely right. A little hint here to the troublemakers. If on one of my Substack stories you see the word reportedly, that's legalese. That's a lawyer that's told me to put that in. If I say someone is acting erratic, that's a legal word for
code for drugs.
Right there, they're on drugs. So like, if somebody's erratic, these are just little winks that we do all the time in the media. I loved reading this story. To me, it felt as if they got it. They got this story. The details were delicious. It got watered down a little bit by lawyers, but I think that's worth doing to get it out there. It's a great story. We know where the truth lies on this. And then today, to have Ted unfollow her and unfollow her projects, that's sort of exciting too. But there's something about these two and lawyers. We know that Harry is very litigious. He's gone after British organizations. They've threatened American news organizations too. This is their ammo. This is what they do. And so my reporting now is that Netflix needs maybe not be careful, but I think they're probably predicting this is going to happen, that I will not be at all surprised if Harry and Meghan now consider legal implications, legal responses to Netflix. My sources were telling me, Maureen, that they believe Netflix is in breach of contract. Not quite sure how or where. There's also a disparity clause in the contract that they wouldn't say mean things about each other. And so far, Harry and Meghan have not said much about Netflix, but they believe Netflix are behind these leaks. This is what they accused Victoria and David Beckham of doing. Remember when they fell out for the Beckhams? And it was because they thought Victoria was leaking. So I think they're building a case here. So I think Ted is very smart. Don't get on the phone with Meghan unless you've got your lawyers with you, because she's going to come after you. She's going to find a way to make this Netflix problem rather than a problem of the content she was providing.
If only these two had actual talent, they wouldn't get themselves out of bed in the morning and feeling alive by launching lawsuits hither and yon. I mean, Rob, when will entertainment CEOs get the memo? Do not get in bed with these two. It only ends badly. They just wind up trash talking you and suing you for their own failures.
Yeah, I think it started to happen. Netflix is arguably, Netflix and YouTube, the two biggest now broadcast entities in the world. I think YouTube in Britain just overtook the BBC. Its scope is so massive now. And as we've seen media change, as we've seen the way that we consume entertainment, it's changed so much. I watch you on YouTube. Like I watch many of my favorite shows now on YouTube. A lot of my friends don't even have cable anymore. And so I think that to upset the future, which is what Netflix is, or really it's the now and the future, it'd be better off upsetting ABC or CBS. It wouldn't matter as much, but to upset somebody like Netflix, who, let me be clear, celebrities bow down to. The biggest stars in the world want to work with Netflix. If Netflix want to have lunch with Nicole Kidman, she does it. If Netflix want to have lunch with Tom Cruise, he clears the schedule. So everybody smart in Hollywood knows this. The only two people everybody in Hollywood who's dumb knows this. Even the bad agents know that you shouldn't upset Netflix. They are the future. They are the now of broadcasting. And so for Meghan to pick this fight is really outrageous. My sources inside Netflix tell me they've been pretty much erased in the Netflix offices around the world, but particularly in LA. They used to have huge posters in the reception. Often media companies do this. If you walk into ABC, you'll see a huge picture of Robin Roberts. If you go into NBC, into 30 Rock, you're going to see Tom Yarmus, who's now doing the nightly news. CBS has Gayle Kingup when you walk in the lobby. I'm told pictures of Harry and Meghan have been removed. There's no longer any.
Yes, and they've been putting out Meghan's overpriced, unmovable merch on like the giveaway piles for the underpaid peons over there. I think the Variety piece had it that Netflix is saddled with about $10 million worth of unsold as ever, or as I call it, a sever. Sever. Yeah, because they just sever ties wherever they go. You know, what are they going to do with this stuff? It's the jams are perishables. You know, you can't, even the hungry wouldn't take it. Okay, I want to move on to Timothée Chalamet Ding Dong.
You did it.
We've got one thing we're going to get to before your amazing exclusive. We're going to tease the troublemakers. Chalamet Ding Dong, who had tried to put on his best behavior in the waning days and hours before that ceremony, is reported. This is from Cosmopolitan. Great piece of reporting by Mahara Bonner, published March 17th. Eyewitness claims Timothée Chalamet Ding Dong and Kylie Jenner walked out of the Oscar ceremony for a full hour, quoting from the piece. Timothée and Kylie were replaced by seat fillers for an hour. An onlooker source tells the outlet. Okay, so they picked this up from somewhere else. It seems like Timothée had enough of being the butt of the jokes. I mean, what? He can slam ballet dancers and opera singers and he can't take his own shit?
He can't.
They only came back just before the Best Actress and Best Actor categories were announced. I mean, if there were awards for most classless nominees of the night, for female, Teyana Taylor, male, Chalamet Ding Dong. Rob.
Maureen, they did leave. Now, let me give them a little bit of cover here. It's not total cover. I've been at this award show many times, and it's a long, boring night, and a lot of the celebrities go out to the bar in the lobby. It's a really fun place to hang. I left my seat to go to the bar because that's where all the big stars were really celebrating and drinking and getting a little bit sloppy. It feels very Golden Globes at this bar, which I thoroughly enjoyed. However,
it sounds fun, but like you were not nominated for an Oscar you were gagging for, seated front row, dressed all in white, like an inpatient at a hospital for the mentally criminally insane, you know, with your sex bomb girlfriend with like cutouts everywhere, drawing all manner of attention to yourselves. I think this kid can't cut his own shit. He has no problem shit talking everybody else and saying that what he does is top level shit, but they poke a little fun at him and try to put him back in his place. And he's getting the message, this Oscar ain't yours, kid. They're giving it to somebody with a little more humility and a lot more talent. He couldn't take it.
He couldn't take it. But let me finish that point. He wasn't in the bar. He didn't go to the bar. They disappeared. Had Timothée and Kylie gone to the bar to hang out with celebrities and have a glass of wine, I'd be like, oh, that's sort of like actually kind of like a cool thing to do. They weren't. They just disappeared. I'm told they demanded a private area, an area backstage where they could go and decompress or have a moment alone. And I don't know if it was anxiety. I don't know if it was arrogance. I assume it's arrogance. They disappeared for an hour.
He needed a safe space.
Yes, I think he did.
Oh, I'm sorry. The guy who played the tough as balls underground ping pong champion of the world is actually a wimp. He needs a safe space, a padded room to deal with the rejection of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. Rob's exclusive. Timothée Chalamet Ding Dong didn't skip the Dune 3 premiere. He wasn't invited. You published this March 18th. Quote, he's become a distraction, one insider says. Every question would have been about the Oscar loss and Kylie, not the movie, and the cast was relieved. This is an all-star cast. Timmy's just one of many. He's nobody special here.
Yeah, this is a groundbreaking. So just 2 days after the Oscars, this was scheduled. It'd been on the schedule for a very, very long time. So don't believe that he had a last minute cancellation or a change of schedule. They did this deliberately, and it was actually quite good PR because when they scheduled this, everybody thought they would have an Oscar winner sitting in that room.
Yes.
And so if I was the movie company, and let's be honest, before you, Maureen, before the troublemakers, he was the favorite.
I know.
Win. In the beginning of the award season, not at the end, but in the beginning, Maureen, I'd given in. I thought he was the winner. I thought you and me were just going to have to suck it up and he was going to win. It is really shocking that he didn't win. Well, everybody at the new movie company that is coming out in December, they thought, gosh, this will be great. Timothée will win an Oscar on Sunday. And on Tuesday, he'll be sitting in front of the press. We might even bring his Oscar out. This will make our movie so classy.
Oh, he definitely would have. That thing would have been soldered to the side of his body. Hanging from what his genitalia used to be.
And so he didn't win. And then they felt too the last week, like we all felt, something's changing, something's happening. And I think the PR people who were really smart at this film decided, it's just a distraction, because every question I would ask every other reporter would be to Timothée and ask him, why did you lose? Was it your arrogance? Was it Kylie? Like that would be the whole discussion of that press conference. So instead of having him turn up, he sent a taped video, and Robert Pattinson and Zendaya held the press conference, did a beautiful job of it, plugged the movie. And so they didn't want him there. And so it's fascinating already the dynamics have changed.
Rob, how much of that do you think was the publicists, the studio themselves saying it's better if you sit this one out? Because when it comes to talent at that level, they're never told no. They're never told no. Like, I personally think his ego couldn't take it, and he just wanted to stay at home and lick his substantial wounds.
Yeah, I've been in those rooms. I've been in those talent rooms where we're like, we just don't want this star to turn up. In the 90s, nobody wanted Michael Jackson at their events. Like, it just became something that you just don't want them there. And so you have the conversations, and then the head of the studio makes a call to Timothy's people, and there's a discussion. He probably didn't want to be there either, so it worked out well here. I find that when talent doesn't want to do something and you don't want them to do it, it's easy. Where you get a problem is if you don't want them to turn up, but they really want to be there. He missed the premiere of Dune Part 2. So he's already got a track record of not showing up. So I think when he was told contractually, you should be there, but we will be fine if you don't come to this press conference, I think he was relieved. I think his people was relieved. I don't want to feel like Timothée got off the hook here, but I think the movie company was probably very relieved too.
Rob, what do you think we know the best thing for him to do would be to disappear for quite some time. I noticed, I believe it was within hours of the Oscars, I don't think 24 hours had elapsed, he was back on his Instagram promoting Dune 3. I thought maybe this would just humble the guy just a little bit. Just let the movie studio deal with the promotion. Just go quiet, just be quiet. Like, don't be like, hey guys, I'm back already. 60 seconds elapsed. Did you miss me?
Right. That's who he is. That is who he is. I don't think if he was going to be able to learn something from this, he wouldn't have got himself in this mess, because he would have learned something during the process. He clearly doesn't learn. He clearly doesn't take advice. He's clearly listening to nobody but himself. And that's why he's in the position he is in. I think as this movie gets closer and closer, the attention's going to be on Zendaya and Robert Pattinson.
Agreed.
And he's going to
Robert Pattinson, who is becoming quite the act. He's carved out a really nice lane for himself. Everybody thought he was just the dum from Twilight. I find his choices very intriguing, and I find him an interesting guy.
Charming too, Maureen. I've interviewed him many times. I've seen him on red carpets. He stops, he talks, he's normal, he answers questions. He doesn't turn up with 20 publicists or Kylie Jenner. And so I think he's going to be the face of this movie, him and Zendaya. And it'll be really interesting when the poster's released. Let's see how big the face is.
And for those of us who still once in a while inhabit a multiplex, and I'm going to go see the new Baz Luhrmann epic, the Elvis Presley in concert film, within the next week or so. show. That's very telling when you go in and you see those huge cutouts and the one sheets and the posters with the stars isolated. You know, Timothée is going to be rolled up in the back room, metaphorically, literally. Okay, a few more quick stories, Rob. This is not a surprise, but we do have to talk about it because it's a cultural thing and it does matter. Oscars viewership plummeted by 9%. The New York Times is saying it's its first real drop since 2021. That's like COVID era. It's not landing in the culture. We know as of 2029, it will be on YouTube, and hopefully The Nerve will be the absolute go-to pre-Oscar show on YouTube by then. But, you know, what do you make of Hollywood? You know, the note, as long as I've been alive, has been the same after every ceremony. Shorten it. Shorten it. Yeah. Make it smaller. Make it tighter. Give them more, I'm sorry, the less star-studded awards, do them off screen, have a separate, you know, they won't take the note. What is the problem?
Look, every year we see them give a note on camera, asking people to not go over their time in their acceptance.
And the host, it's always a joke for the host. Oh, we're only like 8 hours over time. It looks like we're coming in on. It's like, it's so broken.
Well, it's not fun. It's not professional. If you and me were hired to do a show and we brought it in 8 hours late, we'd be fired. If I went to a restaurant for my dinner reservation at 7 and they couldn't get me until 10, I would leave. And so it's just rude. People are busy. People are multitasking. The whole world has changed now, the way we consume media.
Our attention spans have shortened ever further.
I think they didn't help themselves to a couple of things they did this year. They pushed the Oscars back. So by the time the Oscars happened, we were not even in February anymore. Yeah. All these pictures were no longer in the cinema. You couldn't see these films. They felt so old, didn't they? So I think push it back up to closer to the beginning of the year, make it shorter. And I do believe that YouTube's going to help. I think that having YouTube will help because really, honestly, shows like yours, shows like mine, we can get people more excited. And I think the platform of YouTube now has more power than The Bachelorette on the ABC pre-show.
Absolutely.
There was no lead-in. There was no excitement about this. And I do like, too, the glamour of Hollywood. I want it to be glamorous and exciting.
Love it.
I want the dresses. I don't want people there wearing beige. I don't want people there not wearing diamonds. I don't want people there making political speeches. I want just a really glamorous night. And I think, too, when you do include people like The Bachelorette, she was on that show because it was ABC. You degrade it. No, just
absolutely.
And ABC packs it too with their TV stars. I don't want to see Lara Spencer or Michael Strahan.
Who cares? You know, I watched some of Kelly and Mark's like after show the next morning. Those things used to be really fun, and you would get like the A-list stars like the minute after they won, and it was so boring. Like they had like Carson Kressley on. No offense to Carson Kressley, but like he's no longer culturally relevant. Right. My other note for the Oscars is, hey, nominate movies people actually have watched. Okay, I still couldn't tell you half of the nominated films. Like I don't remember their names. I didn't, and I consume culture for a living, for fun and profit. I love it.
And I think too, just quickly, open it up. Let Netflix be in there. Let movies we've watched on Netflix. Let movies we've watched
absolutely
that not on cinema. We've just got to face we've changed, and the way we consume movies have changed, and there is no shame now to watch a movie on your laptop. And Michael Scorsese's making movies for Amazon, and so I think that you're right. Pick movies that are culturally now, not movies that we've not heard of. And I think too, cut all the minor awards. I don't care about short documentary. I don't care about foreign language. Keep it tight. I might even just do the top 5 awards. I might just do, and the rest is an email.
Yeah, or the rest is just separate little bites. Here, bites here, bites here, bites here.
Look at us, Marlene. Look at us producing this.
See, Marlena, you're not the only producer. I'm kidding. Marlena she can never leave. She can never leave. She's locked up. Okay. Keith Urban, I'm very interested to know what you are hearing. Nicole has started making a little noise, sitting for some very high profile interviews. We are learning that his daughters, particularly Sunday Rose, who is known amongst the gossip world as Sunday Roast, it does not speak to him. And Hollywood has also cut him off. Yeah. Again, my question is, what did this guy do? Did he knock somebody up? People get divorced all the time. People stray all the time. What did this guy do?
We don't have that yet. It has to be bad because a week after they were married, he checked himself into Betty Ford. So she's known about his substance abuse, his alcoholism for their entire marriage. So that didn't change. So what changed in this marriage to make this happen? It's fascinating. We would have seen him on the red carpet at the Oscars on Sunday, had they still been together. We would have seen him turn up with her at all the other fabulous events, including the Met Ball, that I think she's one of the co-hosts at. He's been cut out. Hollywood is team Nicole. Now, I think that's not because they know what he did. That's just self-serving. She's the bigger star. They always sort of take sides very carefully. But it will come out. It will come out. And the fact that the kids are angry, the fact that the kids know. My sources tell me, and Nicole's a very difficult person to report on. She actually lived in this building where I live once for a summer. And even then, it was very difficult to get any reporting on her. And I sort of admire her for this. She has a really tight circle, and it's mainly her sister and her family. And when you keep your circle that tight, it's really hard to find any information. I've tried. I've hit the phones. I've called everybody I know around her. And what the closest I got was the kids know, she knows, and maybe a few family members, but it's bad.
You know who else I'm going to bet knows? The likes of Rupert Murdoch. The other thing that Nicole, Hugh Jackman, they're very shrewd and savvy about this. They make sure to be very close to Rupert. And so Rupert's outlets report only what Nicole wants. Just saying.
No, you're right. You're right. Rupert's birthday party in New York just a few weeks ago, the headliner didn't turn up, sang, was Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman performed at that birthday party. To get Hugh Jackman to perform, he might come as a guest. He might turn up and say hello and blow a candle but to actually get him on stage and sing 4 songs is a big deal. And so you're right. That's where we'll find this. It will be leaked to one of the Murdoch papers, I would guess, in Australia. She's very, very, very particular about keeping her roots there. Oh, do you know who else knows? Who would be delicious? Hugh Jackman's ex-wife,
Deborah.
Deborah knows. That's what
Deborah would know. I love this Aussie mafia. I love it. Just another nice little tidbit and aside for the troublemakers. If you think, by the way, that prominent people who are diehard members of one political party or another are mortal enemies, not so. Money, power, celebrity trumps all. And I was shocked when I heard this. It was when I was working at the New York Post. Rupert Murdoch spent one presidential election the night watching the returns at a party at Caroline Kennedy's private apartment. That tells you everything you need to know. Speaking of the Kennedys, you've got this great exclusive about our favorite adjacency known as Carole Radziwill. And I just want to show a couple of clips from Roni before we get into this hot exclusive you've got, Rob, because she's coming back on the show as a friend of on the reboot. I had to show this clip. And for those of you who don't quite get why I call Carole's late husband some guy she married who had cancer, it's because he didn't matter to her, my opinion. JFK Jr. mattered to her. Carolyn Bessette mattered to her. This guy was her way in, okay? And in this clip, we're going to watch just a quick hit of this and then one on the back end. She, for the cameras, for the Bravo cameras, was filmed going to collect her husband's ashes, JFK Jr.'s cousin and best friend in England, where she had left them there for 15 years. Here's this ghoul in full professional hair, makeup, and wardrobe collecting those ashes. Listen closely. Here we go.
I don't even remember. Oh my God.
This is the guy.
Oh my God. Wow. Oh my gosh, I don't remember it being so heavy.
She opened the scene by saying
taller and thinner, but it was quite beautiful.
Okay. She opened the scene saying, I don't remember any of this. And then she's like, oh, it's I don't even remember the urn. Okay, we're going to look at this other scene, which was one of when I saw this, and I watch a lot of reality TV. This was one of the most ghoulish, disgusting things I've ever seen. And I thought if there's a single member of the Kennedy family who still speaks to Carole, once this thing goes to air, they're never speaking to her again. Let's watch this. This is Carole in her 5-star hotel room. Another sprightly 900-year-old hipster with her like Beats by Dre headphones, no doubt listening to Radiohead while patting her husband's urn. Here we go.
I didn't expect it to have the impact that it's having on me.
It's like something out of Spinal Tap, Rob. I mean, okay, tell me your exclusive on Radziwill.
Yeah, it's shocking to me that the Kennedy family would have anything to do with her. And now after a little bit of digging, they won't. She hasn't been part of that family for a really long time. It's so exploitive. It is so reality TV, and all of that is fine, except Carole positions herself as really a cultural ambassador. She looks down at all this stuff. She's on reality TV, but if you interview her about reality TV, she poo-poos it. She thinks it's silly, and she's just doing this because it's funny and campy.
It's not like we need the money.
Yes,
because I've seen her raw copy. It's terrible. She's not a writer. And she was swanning around that show, Roni, going, you know, I was a journalist at ABC News for 15. Yeah, that, as Bethany pointed out, that was 15 years ago. What have you done lately, sister?
15 years ago. I know people that worked at ABC at the same time, and they didn't really remember her, but they did say she had a fascination with the Kennedys. And when this guy, they worked together, and
Anthony.
Yeah, Anthony. It's really I don't want to say on his deathbed, but when they got married, he was a very sick man.
He was.
I think he gave her his name. She wasn't Radziwill for very long, but she figured out that was her connection to the Kennedys. I've said it on your show before. I'm going to say it again and again and again because I know it annoys her and I know it annoys Bravo. I wish she would talk about Ghislaine Maxwell, because she was actually closer with Ghislaine than she was the Kennedys.
Was she closer to Ghislaine than Carolyn Bessette?
They were all friends. So Carol's book cover was photographed by Ghislaine.
Her author photo. Yes.
Photo.
And as discussed with you and I, because we've both had our author photos taken, that's not just a throwaway assignment.
No.
You have to choose as your photographer, somebody who you trust to get a nice picture that will live forever on the God willing, on the back of your book jacket. So they were tighter than Carole wants to admit. And I don't understand how you're not an executive at Bravo or Andy Cohen. And, you know, all the reports are all of these Housewives franchises, they're all suffering. Okay. The culture's flushing them out. Okay. They're kind of done. How that is not a part of the deal. You speak about this, or you don't come back.
Well, I had this story that part of her negotiation to return is they couldn't mention Ghislaine. They can mention the Kennedys, but they couldn't mention Ghislaine Maxwell. And I spoke to Bravo executives and they said, absolutely not. Any of the ladies could bring up Ghislaine, and where it goes, it goes. This is where Andy's evil genius might actually make us like him just a little bit more, because Andy protects the ladies, but he protects the brand more.
He does.
If this season is boring, a producer will whisper into the ear of one of the new housewives who don't give a damn about Carole or the Kennedys. They'll whisper in, hey, Carole, I hear you were really close with Ghislaine Maxwell. Carole will explain.
How about this, Rob? If I'm an evil producer in an alternate universe, I'm reaching out to Ghislaine behind bars and I'm saying, listen, you still have her cell phone number, right? Why don't we get Carole answering her cell phone, like on Love After Lockup? You have a collect call from inmate number. So like, let's have that on cam.
Marlena, that is for the nerve. Save that for us. We want that number.
Rob, I mean, I could talk to you all day long, and I've already gone over with you and your very generous dispensation of time with us here at The Nerve. We just love talking to you, and we will see you very soon, my friend.
I adore you, and troublemakers keep causing trouble. We'll talk soon.
That's it. That's it with our pal Rob. Coming up next. Oh my God, this is a stacked show. I was dying as we were putting this thing together. There's so much happening. Access Hollywood, Taken Out Back and Shot. We're going to get into it. The Today Show wants to know, hey, would you like to look like a mentally unstable drug addict and a homicidal, suicidal maniac who killed himself, his sister, and his sister-in-law? Yeah, let's do this. We're going to show you how to look like them. And we think a very prominent reality show star who showed up on a reunion this week may be outing himself as a troublemaker. Plus, of course, troublemaker emails. See you in a minute. Your liver does more than you know when it comes to regulating energy, hormones, digestion, and even your mood. But stress, toxins, and processed foods are constantly overloading it. What can you do? Introducing Peak's Liver Detox Protocol. This two-step system is gentle and powerful. Peak leverages nature's most potent botanicals, minerals, and vitamins, combines them with their cutting-edge extraction technology, and creates supplements that make a difference. Their protocol has two main parts: a strong Sri Lankan turmeric mixed with cinnamon and black pepper that helps your body absorb the formula better, and a spicy Sri Lankan ginger combined with cinnamon to support your immune system, improve blood flow, and help with digestion. This all leads to less bloating, steadier energy, and a clearer head. No miracles, just consistent well-being. Peak elevates nature's best with cutting-edge tech, pure, effective. Ditch the fads and commit to intentional health. Unlock 20% off and establish your powerful foundation for sustained well-being at peaklife.com/the nerve. That's PIQUE life.com/the nerve. We are back. Now, before we get to your incredible feedback and some troublemaker photos, we've got to celebrate the cancellation of Access Hollywood, which, believe it or not, has been on the air for 30 years. I keep my eye on this thing for you guys, for the nerve, because the nerve is the dark side of the moon as far as this shit's concerned. And I would like to think that the nerve's rise is going to result in more cancellations such as these useless shows that serve as just hand jobs for any given asshole who got a camera shoved in their face at some point. You know, it's like ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Now, here's a piece called Why Access Hollywood Really Got Canceled by NBC Universal After 30 Years. It's from Reality T. It was published March 17th. But I mean, does this piece even need to exist? I'm going to show you one clip of a recent opening. This is like from this week. Okay. A recent opening of Access Hollywood, Mario Lopez coming at you. And then we're going to look at a little bit of the actual coverage that Access is giving their lead story. And that this is the lead story just tells you everything as to why this thing is getting canceled. Okay. Let's look at the open to Access. Here we go.
The woman at the center of the Coldplay Kiss Cam scandal speaks out. Access Hollywood starts right now.
So I love this. Okay, so this is Mario Lopez alone on set because he's the star correspondent for Access, or he's really the host. He doesn't do any like out in the field work, you know. It's not like he's in like combat in Vietnam, you know what I'm saying? But he's like, our lead story is the Coldplay woman. Now, again, the problem that is right there. You can't even use her name because none of us know who the fuck this woman is by name. Okay. This story is ancient. Okay. This story blew up last summer. Okay. We are about to go into another summer. The Coldplay woman. Okay. And then we get a quick pivot. Mario pivots to camera 2 over here because we got to have action in this story, and Access Hollywood starts right now. I mean, come on. Come on. Okay, now we're going to cut to Access's coverage of, it's not even the coverage of the story. Access Hollywood is covering Oprah Winfrey, covering this story by interviewing the Coldplay woman. And by the by, this isn't even an exclusive for Oprah. Oh, how the mighty have fallen back down to earth along with Gail, you know, from outer space. Like, this woman gave her exclusive to the New York Times. That's a print outlet, you know, like, an Oprah is taking their like sloppy seconds And thirdly, you know what? I'm going to talk to you about how the Nerve would cover this story. Marlena and I actually debated whether we should even cover the Coldplay woman. And we're going to talk about why on the back end. But let's just take a look at access. This would be like if you came to my house for dinner and I warmed up leftovers that I didn't even cook, that like I ordered in, takeout, like that's what this is. This is a third rehashed serving of a meal the culture chewed over, digested, and shut out long ago. Here we go.
8 months later, the woman in the Coldplay Kiss Cam video finally speaks. Welcome now.
Oh, thank God.
Universal Studios
We're all
Hollywood.
on
I'm
pins and
Mario
needles.
Lopez, and it was the video seen around the world, literally with 300 billion views watching the moment. Astronomer, CEO Andy Byron, and HR
That fake
executive
Coldplay
Kristin
music
Cabot
in the back.
were caught on the concert
Access
Kiss
can't
Cam
afford
in an
it.
embrace. And now, Kristin is opening up to Oprah in her first on-camera interview.
Everybody assumed I was horrified because it meant somehow I got busted having an affair. Like, that is not what was happening.
Yeah,
You were
did.
having an affair, or it was very sharp.
What the billions of people who watched the video didn't know was Kristin was amicably separated from her husband and planning a divorce. Andy had told her he was as well.
This is the problem. There are many problems here, and I'll just break them down. Number one, Access is just reporting what this woman is saying as if it's Bible in verse. The guy who was in that video has never spoken. When this woman gave her exclusive to the New York Times, they asked him for comment, and he said, in sum and substance, fuck off. Like he's just trying to get his life back. This woman is enjoying being famous, okay? And I don't understand why Oprah's interviewing this woman at all. What does she have to offer the culture? In fact, this woman was head of HR over at that company. I forget what it is or what it does, you know, but it's like she's actually the face of what's wrong with HR departments the Western world over. HR is bullshit. HR is there to protect the company, not the employees. Everybody knows HR is like the place of last resort. You know, you have to be really desperate. So the head of HR is carrying on with the company's CEO, and they're both married, and they have the balls to do it amongst their coworkers who are all out on a work jaunt at a fucking Coldplay show. But she's just misunderstood. Honey, the culture doesn't care to understand you, okay? We've all moved on. You're a circus act. You're a sideshow. Now, over to the Today Show. The Today Show, they've clearly been having production meetings about how do we cover the cultural phenomenon that is Ryan Murphy's love story, JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette. How can the Today Show cover this? It's certainly not going to be with incisive, original, smart, and funny reporting. They're just incapable of that. They cannot do that. Also, every segment that they do, again, the Today Show hosts, it's like the band The Arcade Fire. There has to be at least 80 co-hosts on that set so they can all get a chance to ask a question like it's a participation trophy. So the Today Show decided, now earlier this week, no, maybe it was Thursday of this week. So it was yesterday. They did a segment, again, reheated leftovers, on how men can style themselves like JFK Jr. And they had a little fashion show with like not even male models, you know, it's like production assistants. They like wrangle into this shit. Without noting the obvious, the guy was an idiot. He was a suicidal, homicidal maniac who killed himself, his wife, and her sister in an extremely violent, wholly preventable crash that he may have deliberately caused. And before he plummeted that tiny plane into the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, he almost hit a packed commercial American Airliners jetliner making its descent to JFK. It's all in Ask Not. Not that those knuckle draggers over there have read Ask Not. I exclude the faction at the Today Show who is secretly sneaking episodes of The Nerve or just listens in your ear so you can go undetected. You guys, you're the resistance. As far as we're concerned, they're the Nazis and you're the resistance. But let's look at the Today Show's piece from 3 weeks ago. They just did this 3 effing weeks ago. Savannah, don't rush back, okay? Don't rush back. Take your time. God knows what they're going to cook up for poor Savannah. Okay, let's look at the Today Show's tips and tricks. Their pro tips on how any regular person can look like JFK Jr. and his deeply unstable, troubled, drug addict of a wife, Carolyn Bessette. Here we go.
It's the new show that's getting a ton of buzz. Love story about the romance between Carolyn Bessette and JFK Jr. And now everybody, including us, wants to snag their signature style.
Well, the internet is going crazy over their iconic fashion.
Jenna Bush Hager, her bosses at NBC need to send her to a speech therapist and an elocution expert, because she does this thing, you know who does this also? Like, no shortage of reality stars, but Kyle Richards on Beverly Hills is among the worst offenders. ING, the gerund. It's ing. It's not ing, ing, ing. Jenna Bush Hager, ing. And Chanel, then again, if she had two brain cells to rub together, she would say to her producer, I'm not reading this cliched boilerplate claptrap. Who wrote this? Maureen Dowd? The internet is going crazy. The internet is a thing. It can't go crazy. A person can go crazy. Like Carolyn Bessette can go crazy on her husband saying, like, they're tearing me apart. They won't leave us alone. It's like the buzzer rings with, like, you know, her fucking Coke dealer. Like somebody you invited over. Anyway. Okay, here we go. They're going to tell us how to get this iconic style. Let's do it.
He always has that 90s cool guy, oversized look.
Yeah.
Always has a little bit of a print or a color peeking out from underneath of his jacket. And then their accessories are what really make them stand out. So her headband, and then, of course, his hat. He was always throwing on a hat.
Yeah.
And then the Birkin bag that she was always carrying on. This is obviously not Birkin.
Yeah. First of all, there are many things, and if you're listening, I'm going to compel you, go over to the YouTube channel and watch this part in the middle of the show, because you need the visuals. You need the visual aid. They're fashion expert, and mind you, they're broadcasting from New York City, okay? One of the world's fashion capitals. There are no shortage of stylists who could get on the Today Show and say, now clearly that's not a Birkin. Instead of, obviously, that's not Birkin. Birkin isn't a label, sister. Okay? It's an iconic handbag named for Jane Birkin. It's obviously not Birkin. Why don't you also talk about the resale platforms that many women avail themselves of in order to get their foot in the door with a Birkin, or the super fakes? That's like a whole segment. But, you know, I obviously... I don't know why I bother. Now, the other thing about the JFK Jr. Monkey, the guy looks like they grabbed him making a matcha soy latte from behind some counter in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, or maybe Bushwick. Okay. And that's his day job at night. You know, he's in an indie band that's going nowhere. He's got like a starter proto mustache. And I'm just going to say it, when they talk about like JFK Jr.'s Kangol, and not for nothing, the producers of Love Story said they almost had to pause production and not go forward because 3 weeks out from shooting, they still didn't have an actor to play JFK Jr. And the reason why, they said, quote unquote, we're not making guys like that anymore. We're making neuters. You know, like Timothée Chalamet Ding Dong. They couldn't find a guy with hair on his chest, like literally, let alone height and musculature. And he like looked like a dude. This guy, I'm sure you're very nice, sir, but that's not it. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but when he's showing off his Kangol and going like this, the guy's gay from space. Gail could see him from up in Blue Origin. Before we get to our emails, lastly, I was watching the part 1 reunion of Southern Charm, and I regret to say that this show it's swirling the drain. It's swirling the drain. Once a great reality show. Nonetheless, American hero Craig Conover, who once showed up to a reunion so off his face on allegedly reportedly substances that he drunkenly, while slouching in his chair, forced a fellow cast member to cop, she denied it, to cop to being A-Rod's side piece while A-Rod was engaged to Jennifer Lopez, which resulted in that breakup 3 weeks later, and Bennifer 2.0. That's what Craig Conover has given the culture. And I think Craig Conover is secretly a troublemaker. And you want to know why? Because he showed up on that set not only with a fucking awesome like jacket that had lapels that like are popping up to here, like I haven't seen that before, but he had on a brooch that had a dangling pearl. Craig, I'm going to choose to believe it, and just know you always have a soft landing here at the Nerve. Okay, on to troublemaker feedback before Marlena kills me. So I'm always going over. I can't get enough of talking to you guys. Okay, from troublemaker Ellen. Oh, she says troublemaker L. Her from email says Ellen. So forgive me, Ellen. Troublemaker L. Was Ryan Murphy snorting Carolyn's old stash when he made this series? Or are the Kennedys paying him, interesting theory, to make Junior look like a whipped husband who died because his wife was late because she was having a manicure? That is great, dear Maureen, in what appears to be a calculated move to position herself as an intellectual extraordinaire. And when I tell you there's Easter eggs in this Nerve 4-hour mini. Sarah Jessica Parker will receive an honorary doctorate from Northwestern University, which has one of the most vaunted journalism schools in America, and deliver the commencement address to the class of 2026. Any troublemakers who will be attending said commencement, please record audio and video for the Nerve, okay? It is bookmarked on our calendars. We are covering this. I can't even. Good morning, Maureen. This is from troublemaker Wayne, who sends us just the most incredible, these are like psychic scapes of alternate realities. Maureen, when I was in the Marine Corps, this is about my foul mouth. When I was in the Marine Corps, every other word out of the DI's mouths at Paris Island was a swear. When I went home on leave, my mom slapped me so hard for swearing, my head spun around. For at least 5 minutes, I was just wondering, what platoon were you in? I have said this before. My father served in the Army in Vietnam, was a paratrooper, and upon leaving, went into civilian life as a truck driver. And even my mouth shocked him. Okay. When Stedman Graham, Wayne continues, and I were embedded with Teddy and his SEAL team last month, every other word out of his little mouth was a swear. I looked around at the faces of the other team members, all hardened combat vets. They were shocked to hear their team leader now swearing like a drunken sailor in a Yokohama bar. He obviously picked it up from someone near and dear to him. Maybe they were shocked, Wayne, because he's only 5 pounds. I don't know. Wayne continues. The first annual podcast awards are coming up, and your show is a shoo-in for best pod. Wayne, that is very kind. They're never going to award the likes of the Nerve, okay? We tell too many tales out of school, but that's cool with us. But Wayne says, let's pretend the Nerve is going to win, that when Teddy and I, are up on the podium at the podcast awards, absorbing all the well-deserved accolades. We'll see. We certainly would never duck out like Shamalama Ding Dong. Are the two of you going to blurt out, 1, we'd like to fucking thank our producer, Marlena. 2, we'd like to give a fucking shout out to Bill from Brooklyn. And last but not least, Teddy and I would like to send a big thank you to our fucking sponsors who without our fucking show wouldn't be fucking possible. Just wondering. Never know, Wayne. Never know. Good morning, Maureen. I heard you talk about the gentle giant mastiff dog breed last week, and I just wanted to share mine with you. This guy is a heartbreaker. We're going to show a full screen 2 photos of Ford, our almost 22-month-old. Congratulations. You still have a baby. Our almost 22-month-old, 180-pound South African Mastiff. I didn't know that there were South African Mastiffs. Ford, Carrie writes, troublemaker Carrie is my angel. Aw. We got him after, oh, I'm so sorry, after we had to unexpectedly put down our 16-month-old boy due to some nefarious interference from a shitty neighbor. Oh my God, I hope you sue. I hope you sue, Carrie. You are so right about this breed, the Mastiff. My mom had a Mastiff and he was the sweetest guy, Clancy. Oh God. Ford has no idea how big he is. He wants to snuggle a lot. He loves to be in our laps. He could totally open doors that are ajar, but instead he whines because he thinks he is stuck. Clancy, too, was not the brightest, but we loved him anyway because his heart was just the sweetest thing. He is so timid walking over the thresholds on our wooden floor, but he bounces right back over them once you place a rug on them. My husband laughs how often I say he is stunning regarding his appearance. I think your husband might be a little threatened. Just make sure, your husband knows he's number one, but he probably won't be for much longer. Let's be real. Okay. The last one. Hi, Maureen. I hope Teyana Taylor, who we took out back to the woodshed with Mark Bowden on our Oscars body language special, gets some work soon, because this troublemaker writes, troublemaker Donna, if you check out imdb.com, this woman has no work on the horizon. I'm sure she didn't earn much from one battle after another. I think she is one of those actors who is a one-hit Oscar season. Oh my God. The nerve is expanding our reach. We are so right about this woman, just as we're right about Timothée. Keep your feedback coming. Please email me, Maureen at devilmaycaremedia.com, or DM me on Instagram at Maureen Callahan Writer, or at The Nerve Show. Remember to subscribe to The Nerve's Substack at thenerveshow.com. Just go to thenerveshow.com. You'll see a prompt. Would you like to sign up for The Nerve's weekly email? It'll drop in your inbox after Friday's, today's last full Nerve. Just put your email in. Hours later, there you go. Bonus content, my Rex, tons of stuff, Troublemaker Talk, TED Talk, you got it. Coming up, our New York Times. Do you guys remember when we did the Modern Love that the New York Times did a pod on? And it was a couple, a man and a woman, who were both like, yeah, the wife was straight, the husband was gay. They were like the New York Times' version of Barry Diller and Diane von Furstenberg. We also covered Barry Diller on a very early Nerve. This one rivals that one. It may even surpass it. Okay. And again, we're priming that pump for when we go for Lena Dunham, when her memoir comes out in a few weeks. See you in a minute. Do you second guess the nutrition, taste, and sustainability of the seafood that you bring home? Introducing Wild Alaskan. Their seafood is 100% wild caught, never farmed, and that means no antibiotics, GMOs, or additives, just full, clean, nutrient-rich fish that supports healthy oceans, healthy bodies, and healthy fishing communities. Wild Alaskan Company delivers perfectly portioned, wild-caught seafood straight to your door. The fish is frozen right off the boat to lock in flavor, texture, and nutrients like omega-3s. Every order supports sustainable harvesting practices, and their flexible membership includes expert tips and feel-good seafood. My personal favorite is the wild sockeye salmon. It's rich, it's buttery, it's incredibly fresh, and the best part, you can try it all risk-free. And if you are not completely satisfied with your first box, Wild Alaskan Company offers a 100% money-back guarantee, no questions asked. Just high-quality seafood that you can feel great about. Not all fish are the same. Get seafood you can trust. Go to wildalaskan.com/nerve for $35 off your first box of premium wild-caught seafood. That's wildalaskan.com/nerve for $35 off your first order. And thanks to Wild Alaskan Company for sponsoring this episode. We are back. I'm just going to say the thing that we normally don't say, but like Marlene is always in my ear saying when she's not flashing time codes at me and prompter, like we are over. We are over. The show's supposed to be an hour. And sometimes we'll go like an hour and 10, an hour and 15, but I couldn't help myself. Today's show is too fun. I'm having too much fun talking to you guys. So break this nerve up into bits. If you can't hang for the whole thing, that's what we're here for. We want to be here for you always. You know what I'm saying? We can't cut this down because it's too good. This is a trend in publishing that is on its dying vine, but the nerve's going to kill it, okay? And it's a trend not only in publishing, but in like lifestyle pieces. So by publishing, I mean books, and then lifestyle pieces in like, you know, The Cut or the New York Times, you know, places that like to think of themselves as like progressive in every way. It's very Brooklyn centric. Like you can't swing a dead cat without hitting some lady who's like, yeah, I'm in a throuple. Like, yeah, I'm in an open marriage. My life's never been better. You know, it never ends well. It just never ends well. There is an author named Lindy West. Excuse me. Okay, this is going to be trouble already. Lindy West. Now, Lindy has been a minor figure on the scene for quite some time. She is Roxane Gay, Lena Dunham adjacent, by which I mean these are women, and I mean no offense to anybody who struggles with their weight, because that is a very personal, specific thing. I'm talking about women who seem very disordered, like very mentally disturbed, who have eaten themselves into a morbid obesity that, you know, and again, we all know how the nerve feels about GLP-1s to like shake off 10 pounds. Don't do it. If you're morbidly obese, that's a whole other ball of wax. Like for health reasons, you probably should, but there are women in the culture who are not healthy. And I don't just mean physically, they are mentally unhealthy. And they get book deals and they get TV shows and they get lengthy pieces and podcasts in places like The New Yorker and NPR, New York Magazine, The New Yorker, you know what I mean? And they're shoved into our faces as if these are people not only to admire, but to listen to, learn from, and emulate. And the nerve is here to say the politically incorrect thing that in polite society will get you canceled or kicked out of a social circle. And that is no, we don't fucking think so. Okay. Lindy West is our next piñata. This is an intro via NPR's 2019 review of the Hulu show Shrill, which was adapted from Lindy's book. The review is by a woman named Linda Holmes. And this is a part of what I'm talking about here. I'm setting the table. Linda writes, Lindy West's 2016 book Shrill, Notes from a Loud Woman, is appropriately, okay, so they're already telling you what to think. Appropriately a holler, spelled Holler. It's a holler of triumph, of laughter, of hurt, of anger, of joy, of frustration, of defiance. This book sounds like a mess. Of defiance, but it is a holler. I guess that means like a cry, but a cry for what? For help? West, the writer continues, talks about life on the internet as a feminist and a fat woman. I guess that nomenclature was okay with Lindy. I think she uses that appellation for herself. She talks, the piece continues, about being loved and being at peace with her body. If GLP-1s have given us all just the blatant truth that is just indisputable, there is nobody who is extremely overweight who is at peace with their body and loves their body, okay? Lizzo, get the fuck out of here. This is such terrible messaging. I fucking hate it. It's fundamentally dishonest. And she talks about learning to unapologetically occupy space. Again, one of my favorite phrases. Taking up space, occupying space. Space isn't something you can put your arms around, okay? It's this. It's the. Can you grab space, let alone occupy it? But this NPR hack writes both literally and figuratively. Again, the editor inside of me would slash this to ribbons, disembowel this writer in the editing room, and send her packing. All right, here's a sampling. We're going to take a little bit of a look at this show. Okay, this is going to tell you everything. This is a specific kind of person in the culture, and we're flushing them out. You're going away, sisters. Bye-bye, sayonara. Here's a sampling of former SNL cast member Aidy Bryant as Lindy, or a version of Lindy, a super smart, take no prisoners, liberated feminist who may be morbidly obese, but has a ton of hot guys who want to fuck her and has total agency over her body and sexuality. Here we go.
Took this pregnancy test in your bathroom, and I believe that it's defective because it just gave me a very disturbing false positive. So I would love to do an exchange, please.
How is it defective?
It says that I'm pregnant, and that's impossible because I've been taking the morning after pill.
Do you weigh over 175 pounds?
Yes.
The morning after pill is only dosed for women 175 pounds and under.
What? But I've taken it before.
It's supposed to be for emergencies only.
I guess I'm just wondering why the pharmacist who's usually here when I'm here, the Irish hunk, why didn't he tell me that the morning after pill wouldn't work for me any of the last 7 times that I've come here and bought it?
That guy's very bad at his job.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, we can stop it right there. We can stop it right there. That's it. Among the many problems I have with that, it's just not funny. It's not a funny bit for many reasons. The character played by Aidy has gone to her pharmacist at her local CVS, Dwayne Reed, what have you, and she's holding her, I'll take my remote control, her pregnancy test like this. Just a naked used pregnancy test that she peed on to get that result. And this is treated like that's a semi-normal thing. Like you see the pharmacist in that scene doesn't even flinch or recoil or say that's not sanitary. I mean, granted, this is before COVID and everybody's antenna went up. You know what I'm saying? Like a normal person would put it back in the box or put it in like a Ziploc bag and then wash their hands and make sure. Do you know? Then this character says, well, I take pregnancy tests all the time because you know what else I take all the time? The morning after pill, which is meant for conditions of emergency, like a condom breaks. Or you look at your diaphragm and you're like, holy shit, like did somebody poke a hole in that thing? Or you've, God forbid, been sexually assaulted. It's not contraception. And this doesn't help people on the on the pro-choice side. This kind of idiocy, this kind of idea that like, hey, you know, all bets are off, get pregnant, you know, like, stop it. Okay, now, Lindy West, who like the 1% of the people who remain reading the New York Times know, she was the subject of a huge profile in What Passes for That paper a couple of weeks ago. And this was done as both a print piece with like huge photos of Lindy and also as their Modern Love podcast. And we are going to push a deeply, not only false sentiment into the culture. Okay, this woman's a writer and she's shilling her next book. And not only is she going to tell us that in her last book of essays, of personal essays, so something of a memoir, that she lied to her readers. And I'm sorry, when you break that trust with your readers, you can't get it back. That is not something to be trifled with. Now she's telling the truth. Now Lindy's telling the truth. And not only does she love being morbidly obese, does she love it? She got married. And her husband turned around and said to her, you know what I want to do? I want to go fuck other women. There is a movement in the hipster community in which that is called ethical non-monogamy. And that is some bullshit that some hipster dudes came up with to convince women who like to think of themselves as open-minded and they would never offend their husbands having the guts to tell them they want to fuck other women. Oh, it's just ethical non-monogamy, you know. she's not only into it, she really loves her husband's girlfriend. She might even have like a girl crush on her, maybe a little bit more. The headline, Lindy West thought she couldn't handle polyamory. She was wrong. Was she? Was she? We're going to go through it together, my friends, okay? This was published on March 4th, 2026. And the writer is, let me just double check. Oh, Anna Martin. Anna Martin wrote this and conducted the interview. We're going to look before we get into the pod real fast, the Daily Mail. Woke Seattle writer claims she's no longer devastated by husband's demand. That's the proper word for open marriage. Oh my God, I didn't even get to this part because we were like running out of time for production. She had a threesome with him and his girlfriend. And that's the proper nomenclature. She's the wife, but she was the third party in the sex between him and his girlfriend. Oh my God, get some fucking self-respect. Lindy, the New York Times lead. See what I mean? You'll see what I mean. Whenever non-monogamy comes up in conversation, this is Anna writing with my friends, and we are 30-somethings in Brooklyn, so this is not infrequent. Oh, God, I can't. And you know what else? I hate this phrase that has now entered the lexicon called like opening up a marriage. Like if you're going to do it, just be grammatically correct, okay? Be grammatically correct. It's opening, not opening up. Opening up is redundant. If you're opening something, it's open. Come on in. All comers. Anyone who wants to fuck your spouse, come on in. Anna continues at the end of her moving and hilarious first memoir, Shrill. I mean, that really landed in the culture, did it not? Lindy marries the love of her life. His name is difficult to pronounce, so she calls him Aham. We'll get into it in the pod. I'm sorry. But there was something she didn't share with her readers at the time. Okay, so she gave herself a fake happy ending in her book of personal essays. Oh, the fat girl found love. I sound like Miranda Priestley in The Devil Wears Prada when she looks at Andy and she's like, I'm so disappointed. I had said to myself, go ahead, take a chance on the fat girl. Aham did not want their relationship to be monogamous. Oh, and by the way, the comments on this piece and this pod are off. They're off. And the New York Times, if you're going to pump whatever shit you're going to pump out into the culture, whatever op-eds you're going to do, leave your fucking comments on, okay? At least have the courage of what passes for your convictions, okay? And if the subjects of your profiles get offended, that's on them. You're going to put this stuff out into the culture. You better be able to fucking take it. You know what I'm saying? Stop disabling your comments, New York Times. All right, let's listen to Lindy. Let's get into it. This big feminist rebel named Lindy West. Here's what she imagined marriage would be like. And if you think she thought it was going to be this unconventional, unorthodox, hipster Brooklyn bullshit, well, we'll see together. Here we go.
When you got married, what did you hope your future would look like?
So I think I just imagined that we would, stay on the sort of traditional track. I thought we would probably have a baby and buy a house.
So she wanted to have a husband that was faithful to her. That's implicit. Have a baby. Presumably Lindy isn't taking the morning after pill after every time she has sex. And take out a jumbo loan so they could buy a house and just be like normal people. Whatever normal is. You know what I mean? Now, we're going to get to the meat of this piece. Lindy and Aham. I think I'm saying his name right. I just want to say Ahab, like, Moby Dick. This isn't working out, Lindy. None of it's working out. So Lindy and Aham break up a bunch of times and then they get back together. That's always a good sign. But there are new rules, and Lindy's basically going to admit that her man is setting all the rules and she's just abiding by them. What is this? Some little woman shit? Here we go.
We got back together. But part of that was Aham was like, I've been divorced twice by age 27. And I feel like possessiveness and jealousy had a lot to do with both of those relationships collapsing. And I want us to be not together because we're trapped and locked together in a prison of love.
She knows this is bullshit. Her laughing, oh God, what I would give to have Mark Bowden here right now. She knows it's bullshit. What he's telling her, I've been married and divorced twice by age 27. He's telling her he cheated on both of his wives and he's not going to be able to be faithful. And this fucking Jedi mind trick these guys are using, you know, don't you want to be cool enough to not be together because like we're like forced to be together? Then don't fucking get married. Don't get married. Problem solved. Lindy, if you're going to position yourself as an intellectual in the culture, you got to explain this to me, sister. Why on earth would you get into a marriage with this guy? Why on earth would you enter something that is so easy to get into and so fucking difficult to get out of? You want to divorce this guy? Guess who's walking away with half of your salary that you earned that whole marriage? Trust me, this guy's an artist. We've never heard of him. She's making what passes for money in that house, okay? And I'm not being a snob about it. I'm just being like, you're artists, you're creatives, you're nonconformists. I'm all for nonconformists. Trust me, I went to art school. Do you know what I'm saying? This is just bullshit. So he's trying to brainwash her. No, we're too cool for regular marriage. We're going to have the kind of marriage that has us getting STD panels once a month. Doesn't sound fun. Okay, so she's going to try to convince us all that just like her morbid obesity, this is a very healthy choice for her. Very healthy. But she's really just trying to convince herself. Okay. You can hear it. You can hear it in her voice. We don't even need the visual. Aham. Marlena tells me the name is Aham, which is like, it all sounds like cult-like, right? Like, does this sound like something Jim Curtis would say to like Jennifer Aniston? Aham. Aham. Center yourself. So in this clip, we're going to hear her talk about Aham, asking her to be non-monogamous. But really, this is an ultimatum. Any way you want to slice it, dice it, present it on a platter, it's an ulta-fucking-matum. Here we go.
I worked at the Alt Weekly. Dan Savage was my boss. It felt like everyone was supposed to do it, or else you were like, you were like a prude and a pioneer woman.
Of course.
And I was like, why do I have to do that just because all these cool kids think it's better?
Yeah.
Like, why can't I make my own choices? So our initial conversation was a lot of me crying and being like, I don't want anyone else.
Was it presented as sort of like, we can get back together if we are non-monogamous? Was it like a conditional thing? Okay.
Basically, I think so. But it wasn't him saying, I'm going to go out and date people. We're a couple who loves each other desperately getting back together. So this was not a moment when either of us was like, oh, I want to go out and find someone else. We were ecstatic to be reuniting.
Okay.
So where we landed was, if we want to be together for the rest of our lives, who knows what's going to happen in 10 years, 20 years, who we're going to meet, how we're going to feel.
I'm totally confused by what she's saying. It doesn't make sense. If you guys are so ecstatic to be together, why does he need to fuck other people? If you're so cool with it, why were you crying when he said he was going to do it? And then why are we trying to patch over all of this by saying, I mean, who knows how, we're not saying we're doing it now. Of course he went and did it right away. He was doing it the whole time. Trust me. Trust. But, that's not saying, who knows how we're going to feel in 10 years or 20 years. Like, people stray. Hey, shit happens. This isn't that. This is a guy who is saying to her, listen, this is what he's saying to her. Let's just cut to the bone. Okay. You're never going to be enough for me. I don't really love you. I'm not attracted to you. In order for me to make the severe compromise of being with you, because you have such low self-esteem, it's lower than the ocean floor, you will let me live off of you, live under your roof, eat food you pay for. She probably does his fucking laundry. She cleans up the bathroom. You know it. You know it. The cost of doing business because you don't love yourself and you don't think you can get anybody else is you have to let me fuck other people and everybody's going to know because we have to have an open marriage. And I'm going to tell, this woman is telling on herself the whole time. She is telling on herself the whole time. Now she's going to talk about how she thought she had convinced herself that if this is so sad, you guys, it's so sad. But like, we're covering it, not just because this is a sad, pathetic person, because this is a lie. And there are young women who are going to listen to this and think there's some validity to what she's saying. And maybe their opinions are the ones that are the incorrect opinions. And maybe they're holding men to too high of a standard. Trust me, hold your men to the same standard. Like the way your dog treats you is the way your man should treat you. Okay. Lindy thought that if she could just be perfect enough, he wouldn't want to fuck anybody else. And I wish they would just talk about it in the crude terms a conversation like this deserves. Okay. Let's stop calling it ethical non-monogamy. Let's call it what it is. Fucking around. Let's just talk the terms. Are we using protection? Are we getting STD panels? Is your other partner fucking other people? How many people are you bringing into our marital bed every time you put your head down on pillows I paid for? Get out. Here we go.
Like, I just need to be the best girlfriend so that he doesn't want this stupid thing anymore.
This stupid thing. That she said it. She said it. I just have to be perfect. Honey, nobody's perfect. He should love you in spite of your imperfections. In fact, he should love you because you're not perfect. You're never going to win at that game. Why don't you get like Meghan Markle? Stop being in the prove it game. I'm going to be Meghan Markle on Jamie Kern-Lima's podcast. You know, I stopped playing the prove it game. I don't have to prove. Or what about if it's just, I haven't gotten there yet. Lindy kept thinking that her worst nightmare, which would have been the best thing that ever could have happened to her, I promise her that, because when you get rid of a bad guy, your life gets better exponentially. It's hard to know it in your bones when you're in it and you just want this to work out. But here she goes, trying to make sure he doesn't leave her.
I was always dreading, when was that time going to come?
Yep.
So every time Aham initiated any kind of like really hard conversation, even if it was just like, you need to do the dishes right after you cook or whatever.
You need to do the dishes right after you cook. Okay, so I'm right. We all know what this marriage is. Okay. This guy doesn't bring in any money. And he comes home from doing whatever the fuck he's doing all day and says to her, oh, you cooked? You know what? It's not enough that you bought the food that you with your money, because I don't contribute, and you made the food. But now you better clean up as soon as you're done cooking. You better clean this kitchen up. Lindy, get some self-respect. Here is how her husband practices quote unquote ethical non-monogamy, aka fucking other women, and she can't do a goddamn thing about it because her self-esteem is on the floor.
The moment you found out that Aham was dating someone else.
2019, I'm recording my audiobook for my second book, and I'm in Seattle. I had just gotten home from being away for 6 months. And I get a text while I'm recording my audiobook. Don't know why I had my phone on. Shouldn't have done that. And I find out that someone who was a fan of mine, who knew what Aham looked like, had seen him kissing someone at a bar.
Okay, a couple of things. She says a fan of hers texted her. That's just a friend of hers. Lindy doesn't really have fans, you know? And if it was really a fan, like, how does she have your direct number? Like, wouldn't she just hit you up with a DM? Secondly, she says she's recording her audiobook. That is a privilege if you are an author and they let you record your audiobook. Most times they hire actors to do it. So she says, I got up and left. She was right. She was very unprofessional to have her phone on. That phone should have been turned off and put somewhere else, like out of the studio, you know, and if there was a 911, then her engineers could let her know. Otherwise, Your head is in that recording session. And she up and left her recording session. Do you know the expense of doing an audiobook for a publisher? They book studio time, they book engineers. You know, you get like 2 to 3 days to record the average book. You know, most books are about 80 to 100,000 words, a couple hundred pages. She just cost people a lot of money because she couldn't deal with the marriage that she says she signed up for, that she was totally cool with. And every utterance in this fucking podcast, this Modern Love podcast, is of a very distraught, disturbed woman. Okay. And where this interviewer is in not pushing back and just saying, hey, Lindy, you don't sound really cool with this. Most women wouldn't be. You want to have a baby with this guy and buy a house with him? But you think that the problem is with you because you're unhappy that he's humiliating her now because he wasn't being open with her at all. As I said, he was already fucking doing it. Somebody caught him at a bar making out with another woman, but she's going to blame herself. Okay. We have to go through this because we have to push back on this shit. This is very toxic, dangerous messaging, especially for the generation coming up under this shit. For young women, you guys who are at progressive schools, progressive colleges, you want to work in fringes, you want to work in the art world. The art world's full of guys like this. Trust me, do not buy this line of bullshit. Here we go.
I was very much like, is she prettier than me? Do you love her more than me? You know, do you guys laugh at me?
Do you remember what he said to that question?
Yeah, he said no. You know, he said she's a really good person and you're just different. And he was like, you're my wife. Like, I don't love anybody more than you.
That's a lie. He's lying to you. She says, I said, do you make fun of me? Do you two make fun of me? And you'll see why when she asks about who exactly this woman is. And honey, if you think he's just got one extra woman, you are beyond deluded. Here we go.
He told me that her name was Roya, and she was one of the artistic directors of a venue in Portland that had put on one of his shows. So I actually met her when they did the show there. And she was so nice. Like, I remembered meeting her. I know. She was like so small. She was like the tiniest little person. I am the biggest, loudest. Well, I'm not going to be self-deprecating, but I'm tall and I'm big and I take up a lot of space and energy. And she was just like a tiny little beautiful, she's like kind of goth, you know?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm like, I kind of dress like a clown.
Let's take a look at the girlfriend. Here is a photo of Lindy with a hum and the girlfriend. The girlfriend's on the right. Lindy, it can't be both. He can't be attracted to the both of you. You both look nothing alike. She is your polar opposite. She looks like an elf. He's using you. He's using you for your very minor fame and all the things that you do for him. He is spending time, he's taking time from you and your relationship with him, your ostensible relationship with him, and he's spending your money, doubtless your money, at this point to travel to see her at least once a month. So he's literally leaving your house, where I'm sure you pay all the bills, to go hang out with his girlfriend, who objectively he finds more attractive. But Lindy's going to tell us that she had a moment of self-actualization amidst this misery that is the life she has constructed for herself. And make no mistake, she's not a passive victim here. She's not. She needs a lot of therapy, a lot of therapy. Here she is on her we'll call it what Oprah would call it. It's her aha moment. You're not going to believe it. I didn't believe it when I heard this. I had to play it back twice. Here we go.
I bet Aham sent me like a sexy underwear pic of Roya with her consent, because I think they were talking about me also. Because that's, if you want to get me, if you say we've been talking about you, oh boy.
In a good way. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, because I definitely remember him saying like, Roya and I have been talking about you a lot. So I'm sure he sent me like a cute pic of Roya being cute. And I was like, okay, you can tell her that that's a beautiful photo or whatever. I'm such a dork. You may tell her that is a beautiful photo.
I mean, like, that's a way to sext. It's formal, but I'd say it works. Yeah.
Lindy.
Side note,
how
Lindy
cool
was absolutely
you can
incapable
be
of
with
sexting.
this.
But so then I'm like, also throughout this, I'm reconnecting with Aham, I think, in certain ways too. Like, it's fun to have like a long distance boyfriend that you can have flirty texts with.
I don't think it gets much more aggressive than him sending his wife a sexting photo of the woman he's actually really happily having sex with and a relationship with, and says to you, oh, we talk about you a lot. She should be the most important person in his life, and the relationship that he guards with the utmost ferocity, and she should have absolute trust that he would never betray her or talk about her in any way that she would not be okay with were she in that room. And she should have no business in that room, because he should have really no business carrying on his ethical non-monogamy. And now they all live together in a cabin in Washington State, doubtless paid for by Lindy. And trust me when I tell you, this is going to end either in divorce and he's going to marry the new girl, or he's going to get her pregnant. That's the sadistic thing. That's what's coming for you next, Lindy. He's going to knock her up. And you know what he's going to say? I wouldn't want you to have to carry a baby with all that weight on you. Lindy, get yourself out of this and stop trying to listen. You want this for yourself. You hate yourself that much. Fine. But you and the New York Times should be fucking ashamed that you're trying to convince other women that this is a good, valid life choice for them. That is prepping us for Lena. She's coming up, you guys. You know it. And that does it. That does it for our Friday edition of The Nerve. Come back and see us tomorrow for the mini that drops on YouTube at 10 a.m. Eastern Saturday mornings. If you haven't already, check out our Substack at thenerveshow.com. Be sure to subscribe and grab some Nerve merch. Pick something up for yourself or a fellow traveler / troublemaker at shopthenerve.com. We've got some new merch on the way, and we will see you tomorrow for our mini. And then again next week right here at The Nerve, where you will never guess what we're about to say next.